Receiving the QO-100 narrowband downlink is a straightforward project, especially since you can repurpose standard satellite TV hardware. The downlink operates at 10.489 GHz in X band. So the main objective is to down convert that signal to an intermediate frequency that the RTL-SDR can tune to. Satellite dish, a standard off-the-shelf KU band satellite TV offset dish works perfectly. While a 60 cm dish is the absolute minimum, an 80 cm to 120 cm dish is highly recommended. The larger aperture gives you a better signal to noise margin, making it much easier to pull weak SSB and CW signals out of the noise flow. The LNB, low noise block or low noise block converter, it's a down converter. The LNB sits at the focal point of the dish and handles the actual frequency conversion. You cannot use older DRO, dielectric resonator oscillator LNBs, because their local oscillators drift severely with temperature changes. You need a phase locked loop PLL LNB. The Bullseye 10 kHz TCXO LNB is currently the gold standard for QO-100. It features a highly stable TCXO, that is temperature compensated crystal oscillator, that minimizes frequency drift, an absolute requirement for narrow band modes like SSB. The LNB uses a 9750 MHz local oscillator. It takes the 10.489 GHz downlink and down converts it to a 739 MHz intermediate frequency. The primary challenge in wiring the receive chain is sending power up the coaxial cable to run the LNB without feeding that same voltage into your RTL-SDR and damaging it. Bias T. You must insert a bias T inline between the LNB and the SDR. The narrowband transponder on QO-100 is vertically polarized. Standard TV LNBs switch to vertical polarization when fed 12 to 13 volt DC. So you will inject a 12 volt supply into the bias T. The RTL-SDR effortlessly tunes to the 739 MHz IF coming out of the bias T. The RTL-SDR block V3 or V4 models are ideal because their internal 1 ppm TCXOs prevent additional drift inside the receiver itself. Cabling. Standard 75 ohms RG6 satellite coax is run from the LNB to the bias T. You will need F connectors on the coax run and SMA adapters to mate with bias T and RTL-SDR. Even when using a high quality TCXO LNB, slight thermal drift is unavoidable at 10 GHz. The most elegant way to handle this is in the digital domain. SDR Console V3 is the preferred SDR software for QO-100 operators. It features a built-in geostationary beacon locking function. QO-100 continuously transmits a PSK telemetry beacon at the bottom edge of the band, that is at 10,489.550 MHz. By instructing SDR console to lock onto this beacon, the software dynamically adjusts the VFO to keep the entire passband perfectly stable, entirely erasing any residual drift from the LNB.